And welcome to Illini Drive here on WPGU 1071. Post-Passover Easter weekend here on April 2nd. I don't know what the weather's deciding to do. It snowed yesterday. It's going to be 60 and thunderstorm.
That's so annoying.
Like, the Yankees and Mets games got snowed out on April 2nd. That makes absolutely no sense.
None.
Literally none.
I mean, that's like they have Arizona and Colorado playing each other. Like, split that up. Have each New York team go to one of those two.
Oh, boy.
Like, it makes no sense to play a game in New York.
Pretty crazy.
Like, in early April.
I mean, they didn't know it was going to be snowing.
But I mean, like, why even play games in New York in the beginning of April to start?
Because you assume
Like,
by then it's not going to snow.
But I mean, the way the weather goes,
Yeah,
like,
I know.
it always happens every year, inevitably.
My bold prediction that I've told a lot of people, at 20 years from now, spring and fall won't exist anymore.
I think you've brought that up on the show before.
Maybe
That's a
a few
real
months
bold
ago.
take. I
That's
love
Yeah.
a real hot
Again-
start to the show. I'm not ready for that.
Again, Ori
how
here
many
with
years?
Will,
Give
Jake,
me
and
some time
Tommy.
to digest that.
Destination
We
for
can talk
Illini
about it
Sports.
later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Wait,
but
how many years?
Actually,
did you-
20.
sad
At least
or not.
minimum 20 because, well, if you guys know, I've noticed since I've gotten older, you know, winter is getting like progressively longer and so is summer, and spring and fall are just getting progressively shorter. Like literally spring this year is going to last from mid-April to beginning of June. That's what I'm saying. It's going to start being 80 degrees by Memorial Day weekend.
Stop it.
But let's talk Illini sports because this is Illini Drive. Again, Ori, Tommy, Jake, and Will on the show. Let's start with Illini baseball. They played Iowa this past weekend. They lost 2 out of 3. Some very crazy games indeed. They lost game 1 8-5, won 13-12 on Saturday, and then lost 4-2 on Sunday as the snow came into Champaign. But despite the 2 losses, they're still 25th in one poll. Which poll was it, Jake?
NCBWA.
NCBWA. We want to guess what that stands for?
National Collegiate Baseball Weekly Association.
That's probably correct.
Yes.
So
No, that is correct.
That is correct. All right. So the Illini are 17-7 now. Coming up next, they're going to be at Illinois State for a game on Wednesday and then have a series at Maryland in College Park Friday through Sunday. So still number 25, but the story with this team is Brent Spillane, who has continued to just go off. Here are some stats, and we can just go through most of them that I have up here from the Illini Stats and Notes Twitter account. Starting off that on March 31st, that was at Saturday's game. At that time, in the last 10 games, Brent Spillane had been retired only 12 times and had homered 11 times.
Yep.
Also, after Saturday's game, his average was .676 in the last 10 with 11 homers, 6 doubles, 23 ribbies, and 64 total bases. From the first 2 games in the series, he was hitting .800 with 5 homers and 7 RBIs. 5 of his 8 hits were home runs. And now, going more current, Brent Spillane is 1 RBI away from leading the nation in all 3 Triple Crown categories. And here are his NCAA ranks. He's first in slugging, 1.149. I don't know too much about, like, what... I know that's a crazy slugging percentage, Jake, but, like, can you
It's
put in
stupid
perspective how
high.
crazy
Like,
it is, guys?
It's like double what
very
you would usually expect.
A very strong, like a very good OPS is like plus, like 700 plus.
750 to 800.
It's like the MLB
Yeah.
average is 750.
I think the MLB average is like 750. I think your like really good OPS is
Like 900.
850 to 900. Yeah,
And he's 200 points higher.
yeah. I mean, I
Real.
think that's like that's close to like what Bryce Harper's OPS was when he won MVP a couple years ago.
Wow. So his slugging is 1.149. His OPS is 1.728. I mean, when you're getting close to 2 in OPS,
Yeah.
you're doing something right. He's tied first in the country with 14 home runs, second in batting average. He's hitting .494. On Sunday, Iowa was like, okay, we've been giving up too many homers with this guy. Let's just walk him for most of the game. Let's see. Brent Spillane's official stats from Sunday.
4 walks and a K.
Yeah, he was 0 for 1 with 4 walks and a strikeout, exactly. So
And that strikeout, it was a full count because they were still not pitching to him.
oh goodness. So because his average was at 500 after Saturday, so dropping to 494 with the strikeout. So second in batting average in the country. His on-base percentage is almost 60, which is second in the NCAA. He's tied for 5th in ribbies with 38, and he's tied for 9th in doubles with 13. He leads the Big Ten in average slugging, OBP, OPS, runs, RBIs, doubles, homers, and total bases. Second in steals. This is an insane season. This is Brent Spillane is on pace to have maybe the best season in Illinois baseball history for a hitter.
Not even just like Illinois, like this.
NCAA.
If he keeps this up, this
Yeah.
could be one of the best seasons in college baseball.
And I
history.
mean, even just this past like 2 weeks, like this stretch that he's just been on is up there.
I mean, he's hitting more homers than he's like getting retired. That's how crazy it is. He was named the CB Newspaper Player of the Week again for 2 weeks in a row. Last week, he was also named the NCAA.com and the NCBWA Player of the Week. So back-to-back Player of the Week. He is the first in Illini history to earn 2 National Player of the Week awards, not just consecutively, just in general. So I want to raise the question of, because at the Daily Illini, they vote for an Illini of the Year around late April, May. If Brent Spillane can even keep up not just this pace, but even at a slower rate, if he's hitting maybe a homer every 4 or 5 games, not because he can't go on this kind of a stretch for an entire season. If he did, this should be considered the greatest college baseball season of all time, let alone just the best hitting season.
If he does that, he
4 or
needs
5
to be
games is too slow. It's got to be at least once every other game, something along those lines.
every other or 3.
2 out of every 3, I'd say.
But do we put him as the front runner maybe for the best Illini athlete during this school year as the Illini of the Year?
It's tough. I mean, in a team game, I mean, obviously the baseball team is playing well right now, and they do have a good record, and obviously that's been showing in the rankings lately. But I think that just going up against somebody like Aymar, whose team was consistently in the top 10, who he individually won a Big Ten championship, got to the semifinals for the 4th straight year, or the finals for the 4 straight years. I'm sorry, nationally. It's so hard to go against that.
But I think like part of it is like we're talking about of this past year. Like the thing is like, but like how you just did, like everyone thinks of everything that Aymar does when you're voting for him in anything.
Especially considering this was his last year.
Right.
Too, like,
so I mean, like you have the like emotional weight of like what it means to vote for him and all that stuff.
What year is Spillane? Is he junior?
I don't know.
Brent Spillane is a junior from Wheeling, Illinois.
I played against him a couple times.
Of course you did.
Gee.
It's not like
Travelers.
It's not like Tommy played against every college baseball player in the country. Gee, I didn't know
close.
that. How many players do you know on the Duke baseball team? Probably
Nobody on Duke.
Wow.
Nobody at Duke.
Breaking news, everyone.
Oregon
Tommy
State.
Polson doesn't
Nobody
know
Oregon
people.
State either.
Oh my goodness. Tommy Polson doesn't know every college baseball player.
I don't,
Wow.
unfortunately.
Jeez. Kind of crazy. I mean, for just this school year, because Isaiah Martinez didn't win the national championship, but he won another Big Ten. But that's like normal for him. The people that I'm thinking as the front runners, the 2 that I can think of, Brent Spillane, who again, this is ridiculous what he's doing. He is hitting the ball. It's like he's getting a home run every time he's swinging the bat and making contact.
Pace.
But John Davis should be in the conversation because the guy ran a mile in under 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was able to make it to the NCAAs in cross country. He's probably going to be able to do something spectacular in outdoor track and field this season.
I think depending on how he finishes the year, Dylan Meyer should be in the conversation probably.
Yeah, because
Played in PGA events, just won the 3M this weekend.
Right.
I mean, if he shows up at nationals,
Pretty good.
Unfortunately,
that's after.
the NCAA golf championships are after the school year ends, so the paper, the Daily Illini, wouldn't be voting for Dylan
But
Meyer.
say like
most
he
likely.
runs these next 2 tournaments, wins 2 more tournaments, I think he's in the conversation.
He should. I mean, I think he should be in the conversation
He
in
already
general.
is, I think, yeah.
You should put Bridget Houghton in the conversation because any Big Ten champion should be in the conversation for Illini of the Year.
But
I just think
team
what
was too bad?
what Spillane and what Davis have done.
No, I mean, you're not wrong.
Is you can't come back from that because Isaiah Martinez won 4 Big Ten championships, but he wasn't able to win a national championship. If he did,
He won 2.
he won 2, but for this past school year, he didn't
No,
win,
I
and he
know.
didn't win his last 2 years. Whereas,
I mean, Spillane, like the way he's going, like he's probably flying up draft boards now too, even.
and he's just a junior. He's
Yeah.
gonna play next season,
Right. So I mean, there's still teams that'll probably like, all right, let's throw a 3rd round pick at him and see if we can try and convince him to come up. Like, he probably won't. He'll probably play out his senior year next year, but
Right.
still, like, just this performance alone is getting the attention of professional front offices.
And granted, he started off the season really well against like non-conference opponents. He was hitting homers against like Furman. He hit 3 against Southern Illinois in 1 game. But it's not like Big Ten play has stopped him. He's still hitting home runs. I mean, you played a D3 team in Concordia, Chicago, and get 2, but still, he hit 3 homers in 3 games against Iowa, and he could have hit probably another 1 or 2 in the game yesterday if they didn't decide to walk him 4 times. So he's doing this at a consistent pace against higher opposition. It's not like he just hit 14 home runs against some scrubs in February. He's hitting them against Big Ten pitchers.
And the thing now is, like, as teams try to pitch around him, if he can still, like, send a couple over the fence even without getting fastballs consistently, if he's getting just breaking pitches out of the zone, if he can still keep up hitting those extra base hits at every game.
If he's able to continue this pace, I mean, that would just be remarkable. It would be pretty insane. As you're listening to Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1, brought to you by the Illinois Fighting Illini. For tickets and information, make sure to go to fightingillini.com or call 1-866-ILLINI1. Again, that is fightingillini.com or call 1-866-ILLINI1 for more ticket information. But besides just Brent Spillane, all of Illini baseball, they're off to a great start to the season, as they've got about like a month and a half left, a couple more weeks. Going to play some Big Ten teams. Going to play Grand Canyon in the middle there of April, randomly.
Are you okay right now?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what happened to me.
What was going on?
I think it was like a half yawn. You know, I don't know.
I was really worried about
that.
You
Was
for a
weird.
second.
It's like I ingested helium or something, which I obviously did not, because these mics aren't made out of helium. It's not a balloon or
sure?
anything. I'm pretty sure that there's no. I want.
Mic check right now.
Well, you doing something over there?
No helium mic.
Yeah, how are helium levels right now?
Let me hit a button over here on the board.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Oh my God.
How does this happen every show?
I don't know. It's just typical. Pretty classic. Curious about some of the other players who are doing well. I mean, Michael Massey is also having a very good season overall.
It's so crazy to me how fast Michael Massey's just kind of become an afterthought after, like, him and Troike last year were probably the best middle infield combo in the country.
I don't think I've heard Troike's name once.
Except for the top 10 play.
Yeah,
he
I
had.
don't know if he's been hitting as well as he did last year. I haven't looked at the numbers, so I'm not
So
positive.
Troike's hitting 302 with
Which is still extremely good.
Still really
29 hits, 6 doubles, a triple, a home run, and 16 RBIs, slugging
How about
417. Massey's hitting 350,
Yeah, like
3 homers, 8 doubles, 35 hits.
crazy.
like the whole team's
21
hitting
ribbies.
well. It's
Yeah.
just Spillane is just so many tiers above the rest of them.
it's insane because
Who everyone's also playing well.
yeah, I mean Troike and Massey last year were like the really big, like, obviously the team had its struggles last year, but they were the two really big bright spots considering, like, both freshmen, both unbelievable in the field. You see plays like Troike that got him on SportsCenter, and I mean obviously they both hit the ball too. So I mean it just is more of a testament to show how well Spillane's actually been playing.
Yeah, and right now the entire Illini team is hitting 281.
That's
Which
a
is
great team.
Which is fantastic. And just looking at the people who sort of start regularly, you've got 4 guys hitting over 300. Spillane hitting close to 500. Massey, Troike, and then Michael Michalak is hitting exactly 300. Turchin hitting 291. Taylor hitting 229.
See, I think the biggest surprise to me, honestly, after looking at that, is how low Yalowitz is.
Yeah, I was about to say Yalowitz
'Cause, I mean,
hitting
he was another
213.
player that was just electric last year.
Right. I mean, he's still he's a great fielder.
Yeah.
Corday's having a pretty decent season.
Yeah, I mean, is Cordy's first year and then Van Scoy's too. They're both, I believe, JUCO guys. I'm not positive on that, but I believe they both just came in first year from JUCO, both already making impacts. And I mean, the fact that this team is playing this well without Yalowitz even putting up those numbers he did last year just shows how high the ceiling is. I mean, these guys could be very, very
And if
good.
Brent Spillane wasn't on the ridiculous hitting he's been doing, we'd be talking about Michael Massey and Ben Troike.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both playing very well. 100 at-bats for Massey. He's got 35 hits, 21 ribbies. He's slugging
Yeah,
560.
'cause I mean, even if you see Spillane start to level out a bit, start falling back to, like, even he's going to eventually fall back at some point. It's
I mean-
impossible to keep this up. But I mean, do you think we can expect to see him around 400 all year?
I think so. Just because I've watched a couple and he just like shows good.
He squares it up so
and he
well,
but he
yeah.
just also just shows good awareness, like plate awareness too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because
I mean, he's going to be above 350, I think.
yeah, I would think so too. And then I would think that Yalowitz gets at least back to 300 over at the course of the year. Because I mean, like, he's just too talented of a hitter. He's too good at driving gap to gap to stay back and be like a consistent 213 hitter.
Plus, you've got those late April games against some opponents that, not Big Ten. Valparaiso, 3 games against Grand Canyon. You got Bradley, Southern Illinois again on May 1st, and then just a bunch of Big Ten series. So.
I mean, you look through this whole roster and you look at guys like Casey Dodge and Mark Skonieczny, who both last year, also you guys like that pronunciation, that was pretty good.
good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, those guys last year both played huge roles. And the fact that these guys are both bench guys now that only have a total of 16 combined appearances, I mean, this team is very, very deep.
We'll have to see what else Illini baseball conjures up for the rest of the
I
season.
mean, just on one more thing, when we were previewing the season, I think Massey, Troike, and Yalowitz were the first three names we said, and then
I definitely talked about David Cron.
Yeah, I mean, I think
we didn't really think about
we thought
Spillane.
Ryan
I mean, we
Alfred's
said
gonna be a starter.
we said he'd be good, and we expected him to be a contributor, but not leading the team, leading the NCAA in multiple categories.
Right. Well,
It's just
no one could have predicted
wild,
this.
wild
It is.
stuff.
It's wild. Speaking of wild, the national championship's going to be wild tonight. When we come
What's
back,
that?
we'll talk Michigan Villanova, fighting for all the marbles, fighting for the nets and the wooden plaque to win all of college basketball over in San Antonio. We'll discuss that match, give some picks when we return to Illini Drive right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Welcome back to Illini Drive. Ori with Will, Jake, and Tommy, the usual Monday crowd. A couple other Illini results that happened over the weekend. Softball had a struggle this weekend, taking on Minnesota in a 3-game set. They lost all 3. Women's and men's tennis, though, kept up winning. Coming up this weekend, though, Illini men's gymnastics will have the Big Ten Championships. We'll have more on that throughout the week and next week. But let's talk basketball. Tonight, the season finally ends after starting in early November. We are finally here, April 2nd in San Antonio, the national championship.
Illinois is not there.
Illinois is not there, which
sure?
is a surprise.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, you've got some guys who are Illini born playing against each other in the national championship. Jalen Brunson of Villanova, the Wildcats, trying to win their second national title in 3 seasons, while the Michigan Wolverines, who for the second straight year won the Big Ten tournament, they weren't cold after 10 days. I thought they were going to be, but I was proven wrong.
They started out kind of cold, but I mean, it's almost like they just had to survive that first game, and then after that, they've just been rolling. Michigan's really good.
Very good.
If I haven't mentioned that before.
I mean, they looked nervous against Loyola at the start, but then they just got it together.
Loyola should've won.
They remembered who they were.
Loyola should have won that
Crushed
game,
Loyola.
though. If Wagner didn't get hot, Loyola should have won
Right.
that game.
I think that if Wagner plays well, if he plays like he did last game, and if Abdul Rahman plays well, I think that it's a lot better of a game. But those are 2 big ifs, because
Yeah.
those 2 have not really shown up together in the same game all tournament.
Well, and also Villanova just has much better defenders than Loyola has.
Just a much better team
like
chemistry.
Loyola was good at the steals and the harassing type defense. Villanova is lock and key defense.
Yeah, they play
Yeah.
tremendous D. Michigan trying to win their second national championship. They've only won one in 1989. Some people are claiming the 2013 one after Louisville
I think
had
they
that
should.
title vacated.
I totally would.
That
I absolutely would.
That team also made a great run.
I would
Phenomenal run.
Absolutely. If I'm Michigan in that scenario, I'm claiming that as a championship.
Yeah, but I don't think they will. I think personally the key to this game, Wagner obviously needs to play well, but you need at least Abdul Rahman, maybe Poole. You need at
Xavier
least
Simpson,
2.
something like
You
that.
need at least 2 other guys to put up double digits because Villanova has 6
Yeah.
guys that can put up 15 points. You Bridges and Brunson and DiVincenzo and just so many other guys that I can't even remember off the top of my head. This Villanova team has been the best team all tournament. They stomped Kansas on Saturday, killed them.
I mean, it was over almost from the tip.
Yeah,
What was it, 22-4 in the first
Yeah.
something like that.
7 minutes?
Something
I think.
like that.
So I have
It was
Spellman
just
in
dumb.
there. And Wagner has to play well. If Wagner doesn't play well, Michigan's going to get creamed.
But even then, Villanova just comes back with, let's say Wagner plays as well as Brunson or Bridges. Villanova has 3 other guys that you have to worry about still.
And I mean, in Michigan's defense, I will say this: Jordan Poole is very good. He's a shot maker. Xavier Simpson's quick. I think he'll be able to play good defense on Brunson. And I mean, well, he's not going to stop him from making plays. He might be able to slow him down on the score sheet and stop some of those threes that he shoots. I mean, I think people are starting to write off Michigan too soon, and I don't think
of
it's
course.
smart to do that considering who their coach is.
Yeah, and I mean, they're in this game for a reason, too.
it will definitely be a close game. But I do want to go back in time to 5 years ago, the 2013 national championship. Michigan had a big lead against Louisville, and then Luke Hancock comes in, makes 4 threes, and then the game was over after that.
Yeah.
So that's the key for Michigan. That's the key for Michigan defensively. You cannot let a guy like DiVincenzo or Bridges, who for me are the ones that can get hot really quickly. DiVincenzo, especially coming off the bench, he could just hit 3 threes in 3 possessions, and then Villanova would tie the game or take the lead. If Michigan has that 10-point lead, they need to keep their foot on the gas. They need Wagner to keep scoring. They need Poole to maybe hit some shots. They need Abdur Rahman to rebound and also make shots. But because if Michigan's going to have a lead at halftime, you just have to make sure Villanova's not getting players who are going to get hot, because Villanova has too many threats and they're such an organized team. Jay Wright has put in such a good culture for this school, and now it's finally paying off, because 2 years ago they won it all in a buzzer beater. The year after that, #1 overall seed, got axed by Wisconsin, and now this year they've just dominated every game they've played in.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I think that if this game comes down to the final minutes and say we're the final minute tie game, I'm taking Michigan 10 times out of 10, because I do think that John Beilein is probably the best coach in college basketball right now. I think that Poole's been hitting those clutch shots. I think that they have those guys who are not scared to step up, and that's not saying Villanova doesn't. However, I just think that Michigan's been there so many times in this tournament, where as Villanova's probably beaten every team by at least 12, I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't think they've had any single-digit wins.
So let's find out. So Villanova's first win, 87-61, beat Bama 81-58, beat West Virginia by 12, beat Texas Tech by double digits, and beat Kansas by double digits.
I mean, I think we've kind of seen this in the past, where it's like teams will have almost too easy of a run to the final. They've been firing too well, and then you'll kind of see the other team just sneak up, be written off, and then either play at least a really good game or even go out and win it. And I think that this Michigan team is the exact type of group that kind of is not scared to go out there and do it.
And it's pretty remarkable seeing how well Michigan has played, because I thought, the Big Ten tournament's a week before it usually is. Michigan's not going to play a game for 10 days. I thought they were going to stink. And they started off against Montana horribly, and then they just rode along, beat Houston on a buzzer beater, put up 99 against A&M. Florida State blew it in the Elite Eight game. Michigan was probably going to win that game either way, but Florida State just shouldn't have fouled in that situation. And then Loyola just started turning the ball over like crazy in the second half. But Michigan's just winning. They're playing well. And once again, they've gotten to a national championship. And it really proves if you're hot at the right time, you're hot at the right time. Doesn't matter how you start the season. I mean, Michigan barely beat Illinois.
I believe that this would be their 16th straight win. And this is also going for John Beilein's 800th career win tonight, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. I mean, the last time Michigan lost was at Northwestern again. Lost 61-52 in that game. Their other losses were to Purdue, Nebraska, Purdue again, OSU, North Carolina, and LSU was their first loss of the season.
So, I mean, Michigan was unranked to start the year.
Yeah, and they ended the season like 15th, and now they're going to end the season 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
It just shows how well this team's really come together throughout the whole season. I mean, again, it's just a testament to John Beilein and everything he's done with them.
All right, so let's go around. Let's do who wins it all and by how many points. Let's start with Will.
I'm going to say Nova wins it, but it's a close game, so I'm going to say they win it by 4 points.
Okay. Jake?
Nova by 10.
By 10. Who puts up the most points for Nova?
Bridges,
okay. Tommy?
If you asked me this before this hour, I would have said Nova, and I would have said 84-72.
Wow.
However,
oh goodness,
I've convinced myself that Michigan's going to win. I've got Michigan 73-72.
Said wow.
Another Jordan Poole buzzer beater.
Oh my God, I couldn't handle that. That would be ridiculous. Imagining the women's tournament ended on a buzzer beater. Did you guys watch that?
I saw that.
Unreal.
Well, the coolest thing with that is Twitter. Did you see the stuff with her and Kobe?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so she's the same one that hit the buzzer beater in the Final Four game to win it.
Yeah.
So after that game, Kobe tweeted, would have loved to see the Huskies do it again, but respect goes out to, what was her name again? I'm blanking on it.
Yeah.
Agumbawale.
Yeah. So Agumbawale. So Kobe Bryant tweeted her and said basically like, wanted to see UConn do it again, but congrats, like respect out to a shot like that. Go out and win it. And she quoted it back saying like, oh my God, my life's over. Like this was the coolest thing ever. He tweets her back again saying, no, your life isn't over. Go out there and hit that shot again and win this championship. And then she says, okay, like we'll do. And then obviously she goes and does it. Right after the game, Kobe tweets right away, says, congrats, your life is officially over. Like, it was just like so awesome, like obviously you expect UConn to win the whole thing, and Notre Dame
again?
wasn't even projected by many teams to make the Final Four.
Hey, Fighting
And,
Irish get a national title.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Notre Dame basketball fan, but I mean, it's still cool to see. I mean, and that was just a good team. I mean, they've been so close for so many years, but obviously UConn's been that powerhouse. But yeah, those shots were both unbelievable.
Yeah, I couldn't handle if there was a buzzer beater tonight because yesterday I just went nuts, and my girlfriend actually picked the Notre Dame Mississippi State final correctly, and she had Mississippi State, and we were watching the last 3 seconds hit the buzzer beater, and she wasn't able to win the pool she was in, which is kind of upsetting for her. And
I saw some people saying that I didn't get to catch the whole game. I actually ended up seeing the highlight after. I saw some people having some problems with the ref. Was there some bad calls towards the end or something?
There might have been. I only was able to catch the last 5 minutes of the game. But my goodness,
Either
that
way,
was
the
insane.
shot, just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, she was leaning back over two women and just nailed it from downtown. And the announcer cam was the funniest thing because they had a cam on the announcers. The color one, I think it was Rebecca Lobo just kind of had her hands over her head, and the play-by-play announcer was just screaming into the camera. And I'm like, that is so awesome. They need to do this for every game. Hopefully they have one tonight with Jim Nance and Raftery and Grant Hill. I'm going to say Villanova wins by 6. And the only reason I'm saying 6 is because I think it's going to be like a one-possession game until the last few seconds, and then Michigan will foul Villanova, and they'll hit some free throws at the end. So I say Nova wins it all by 6. But I'm kind of conflicted in terms of who I want to root for because one hand, I'm like, okay, Villanova's been the best team. They deserve the national championship because they've dominated every opponent. Whereas Michigan, it's like, yeah, I'm from Columbus. I don't like Michigan. But if the Big Ten hasn't won a national championship since 2000 when Michigan State won.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I saw former DI guy Alex Rue actually had a interesting interview with Mark Titus, who's a former Ohio State basketball guy. And Rue was asking him, like, as an Ohio State guy, played for the team, what do you think? Like, are you rooting for Michigan to win? And Titus said something along the lines of, yeah, I mean, it feels like the Big Ten has just lost so many national championships in the last 20 years. You almost, as much as like he didn't want to say, go Michigan, he still was saying, look, like I want the Big Ten to go out and win it. And I mean, I understand that, it kind of, as much as like I'm not a Michigan fan, you're not a Michigan fan, nobody in here is a Michigan fan, it still kind of almost ups the reputation for your conference. Like you kind of want to see like, if the Cubs didn't win, like, and the Brewers were in it, I'd probably say I want the Brewers to win. It's similar situation.
And let's not forget the Big Ten was getting quite a bit of disrespect before the tournament.
Yeah, because only 4 teams had made it.
People were saying this is a terrible year for the Big Ten.
And look what happened. You had, Notre Dame, who's a Big Ten school in a couple sports. They won the women's championship, a Midwest school. Indiana women won the women's NIT, and Penn State won the men's NIT.
Yeah.
So the Big Ten could win 3 out of the 4 women's, men's March Madness NITs.
Purdue was Elite 8, right? Or were they Sweet 16?
Purdue was Sweet 16. Ohio State lost in the second round, and Michigan State lost in the second round.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, like,
but if the Big Ten can win 3 out of those 4, that would be.
Plus, they also won that 3-on-3 college tournament too.
Because that matters, of course.
That's a big measuring mark.
It's a big measure mark. So the Big Ten officially the best conference of basketball. If they win tonight, again, 2000 was the last time they won a national championship when Izzo's Spartans beat Florida. Maryland won one in 2002, but they were in the ACC at the time. Since then, I think the last Big Ten team to make the national championship was Wisconsin in 2015. They lost to Duke. You had Michigan in 2013 losing the national championship. Ohio State made it in 2007. That was a tough year to be from Columbus. Lose to Florida in January in the football national championship, and then 3 months later lose to Florida in the basketball national championship.
Florida was so ridiculous.
So ridiculous at sports.
That was Joakim Noah, right?
Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Tebow as a freshman, Chris Leak, Percy Hart. Oh my God, that was
KO Spikes, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That was not a fun year. Oh boy. We're gonna take a break now. When we come back, some final thoughts. We'll talk about the opening week of baseball. We'll talk about NBA, NHL playoffs because those are coming up soon. It's April. It's time for playoffs. It's time for baseball, even though there's snow. We'll return with all that and more from Illini Drive right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Back to Illini Drive here. Quick little score update. Well, first thing that I have to point out, I think ESPN literally just changed their interface like 2 seconds ago because now it's completely different in terms of just how the scores are moving around. So end of the second inning in Toronto, the White Sox are tied with the Blue Jays 0-0. Nats, Braves game just started. Marlins are up against the Red Sox 1-0. The Astros just hung up their World Series banner. They had some trouble, though, because the tarp wasn't coming off, so they brought out some leaf blowers. Cubs took an
You know who
L.
didn't have issues doing that?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The Chicago Cubs.
Of course. But
Just
speaking
saying.
of the Chicago Cubs, they only got 2 hits in a 1-0 loss at the Cincinnati Reds. So they are now 2-3.
It's okay.
And
We're saving
both
all the hits for October.
Okay. Both New York games got postponed because of the snow. So that's baseball. No NBA tonight because of the College National Championship. And in hockey, Toronto's playing right now against Buffalo. They're up 1-0. Winnipeg and Ottawa just started just a few moments ago. So let's just go through the professional leagues that are going on right now. I guess I'll throw in MLS. Who saw the Zlatan?
Zlatan!
Yeah.
I'm all in on Zlatan.
If you didn't
No
No
hear-
idea who that is.
Okay, so Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a Swedish
God.
soccer striker. He's the Chuck Norris of soccer. Let's put it that way. They put jokes about him. You
Calls
know,
himself
He's that one super tall guy that plays soccer, basically.
He's a man.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
bought out a whole page in the LA Times. So it is.
His announcement that he was coming to the LA Galaxy, the MLS, he bought out a page in the LA Times and just said, "You're welcome, Zlatan."
This guy is amazing. So first ever.
Gotta respect that, actually.
Yeah, first ever all Los Angeles game because the Galaxy
Yeah.
were playing Los Angeles
LAFC.
Football Club. LAFC was up 3-0 at one point, and Zlatan came in like the 77th minute, down 3-1. He scores a goal from like midfield, first career goal, and then
I think
he scores.
was offsides, but it was still really cool.
No, he was on. I think he was slightly on. I have to double check. And then he scored the winner, and they won 4-3. It was incredible.
Did
so,
you hear his quote after?
something just about him being
No,
Zlatan?
it was really funny. Like he was like, I came in, I heard the crowd cheering Zlatan, Zlatan, and you know what? I gave them Zlatan.
Exactly. Gave him Zlatan because Zlatan.
It's so cool. Like, I
Zlatan,
love that.
because Zlatan.
Imagine being able to say that and like
Yeah.
it's actually legitimately. You just went in and it's like, I'll score 2 goals, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
let's win.
His first goal was so legit.
Sick. It was sick. And he scored goals better than that.
Just
That's the
absolutely
thing.
clown the goalie for being that far out.
Oh yeah, the goalie came that far out. He just went right at him. And he just
Disrespectful.
Bullet.
Honestly, I think that goalie
What was
has
it,
to
like
retire.
about 40 yards out?
That's about 40 yards out. Yeah.
The goalie has to retire.
Oh, for sure. Completely out of position.
Yeah. Whoa. Light action going on over
that
there.
was kind of scary. But yeah, did you know that
gonna
Zlatan can kill 2 stones with 1 bird?
Yes, I believe that.
Yes, exactly.
He kicked
But-
hard.
Exactly. Let's talk baseball, though. I guess I'll mention the MLS just with the soccer. So let's talk baseball, though. First weekend of baseball. Overall impressions, Jake, because there's been some interesting results. There's been some good performances, some bad performances. The classic opening weekend stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. Nobody thinks the Marlins are going to win the World Series because they beat the Cubs twice. Yeah, I mean, nobody's really freaking out about that.
Pittsburgh Pirates 4-0. They're going to win the Central.
That's actually really surprising. But who did they didn't play anyone that
They
good.
played Detroit.
Yeah, so
I said was not going to win more than 30 games. So
Trevor Williams having a no-hitter through 6 is good because he's like just one of those gritty pitchers like you like. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing like it's still Houston and Boston and New York, and nothing's changed.
Well, Betances and Robertson both blew the 2 games the Yankees lost, giving up a grand slam to Justin Smoke
I
yesterday.
think they'll be okay.
I think they'll be okay,
But
too.
I do want to say that I did say Toronto's going to be in it, and they've been playing really
good.
well.
Their
Their
rotation's
lineups are really
very
good,
good.
and so is their rotation.
Toronto played well against the Yankees, split the games. Otani's debut, what were your overall thoughts on
good.
that?
He looked, outside of
spring training.
Yeah, leaps and bounds better than spring training. But I mean, if he doesn't have one mistake to Matt Chapman, then he's good. I mean, that's a really good outing. And even that pitch that Chapman did get to, like, it was a slider that he had to reach for. It was a good slider. I mean, that's just a case of a good pitch being thrown and a better swing being made. Like, there's nothing, it wasn't a bad pitch by Ohtani. It wasn't the bad call. Like, it's just a good hitter going out and doing what good hitters do.
Yeah, and
Like,
Ohtani got a hit as he DH'd in opening day. Ichiro had a nice little snag with the
That
Mariners. That
route
was
was
pretty nice.
amazing.
I still think the best team over the weekend has been Washington so far. 3-0, looked tremendous pitching-wise. They're hitting the ball. They hit, I think, 8 home runs against the Reds in their 3 games.
Harper had 2.
Yeah, yesterday. Playing Atlanta right now. Speaking of that, they just scored. They're already up 1-0 because
Trey Turner's amazing.
Yeah, Trey Turner scored. Rendon with a fielder's choice.
Trey Turner's going to get MVP votes if he stays healthy.
I could see that. He's definitely
Just because he can
up there.
hit like 15 home runs, steal 60 bases, and hit 300.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's just so many things he can do at a very high level.
And just because it's
The White
fun.
Sox are on pace to go 162-0.
Yeah,
If you guys haven't noticed.
I was just about to mention, right, if the season ended today, The White Sox would be the
About to
number one.
clown on 05.
The White Sox would be the number 1 seed. Boston would play Houston, and then the wild card match would be the Angels against the Mariners. Nats, Pirates, and the D-backs would make the playoffs. Braves at 2-1. Who hasn't won a game? San Diego hasn't won.
Shocking.
San Diego.
And Kansas City. Only two
Shocking.
teams without a win.
Yet.
Detroit
has. Wow,
Detroit won a game.
They took one from
Good
Pittsburgh,
job.
I think.
No, they just
No, they
beat
couldn't.
Kansas City today. Cardinals won again today, too.
Yep.
They look okay.
I know.
I've said the whole time the Cardinals are better than the Brewers still.
Milwaukee's
Yeah.
playing good, though.
I mean, Milwaukee is playing well. If Milwaukee trades Ryan Braun for Matt Kemp, that's the worst deal in the history of
Such a-
baseball.
People are throwing that
So
out.
it was rumored that there was a report over the weekend that the Brewers were wanting one player who nobody knew the name of. I'm assuming it was Walker Buehler, but the Brewers wanted one prospect back that the Dodgers weren't willing to give up, and so that was hanging it up. If Milwaukee trades Braun for Kemp and involved is like Walker Buehler or Alex Verdugo or one of LA's top prospects who also is a top 20 prospect in baseball, fine. Then you can do that. But if you're doing it like straight up for a couple prospects that don't really matter, like that is the worst deal in the history of baseball.
I don't understand why
Because
they would
Braun's
want
playing
Matt Kemp.
really well.
Yeah.
Like, why are you about to go out and get the guys you did and then just trade Ryan Braun?
Right, exactly.
That would make absolutely no sense.
That would be like the Cubs finally getting everybody up, finally getting Chris Bryant up to the league, and then just saying, I don't know about this Rizzo guy anymore.
Right, exactly.
Like,
That's exactly what it's like.
a horrible idea.
Wouldn't make much sense. So that's baseball. Tons of games still to go. The first full month of the season's underway.
Mike Trout's still really good too.
Mike Trout is still very
He's
good.
not bad.
Not bad. Dodgers were like here and there against the Giants. I mean, the 2 losses were 1-0 because of Joe Panic home runs. But let's go NBA.
I mean, the Dodgers are still going to win that division.
Probably. No games in the NBA today, but let's talk about what the playoff picture is going to look like. So in the East, 6 teams have clinched. You got Toronto, Boston, Cleveland, Philly, Indiana, and Washington. 2 spots available between 3 teams, Miami, Milwaukee, and Detroit. Miami and Milwaukee are in pole position to get those playoff spots. They both are 4 games ahead of the Pistons. So it looks like the Blake Griffin effect is not going to work for Detroit, as it looks like they're probably not going to make the playoffs. Meanwhile, in the West, Houston has already clinched the number 1 seed. The number 1 seed has made the NBA Finals out of the West for the past 4 seasons. Golden State and Portland have clinched. Golden State won the Pacific. And then right now you got San Antonio, OKC, Utah, Minnesota, New Orleans, Denver, and the Clippers still in contention.
Tank watch.
There's
the Bulls.
a tank watch for the. Where are the Bulls right now? 26 and
26.
51.
Too many.
One win behind the Nets.
Why did we win more than 10 games?
Because
So unintelligent.
Because the dumb Bulls front office took forever to trade Nikola Mirotic.
But
Like literally, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of that one
why
stretch
have we
run,
won 2 games straight? Right? What are we
that
doing?
too.
Like,
It's crazy that they've won 2 straight with Dunn and Levine out. It
And
makes
they beat-
no sense.
yeah.
They beat Orlando
Ah.
and Washington.
They destroyed Washington.
Yeah, it makes
Did
no
John
sense.
by
Wall,
19.
did John Wall play that game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
that was
believe so.
that's a 2-game winning streak
Porter
after a
played.
7-game losing
Why?
streak. So 5 games left for the Bulls. They play Charlotte tomorrow, at Boston on Friday, then 2 huge ones, Saturday against Brooklyn and Monday against Brooklyn.
They need to lose.
We need to just
both of those
only
games.
send out campaign. Nobody else.
They need to
campaign
send out
versus everything.
campaign.
You
Christian,
send your worst taker.
That
we
literally
send our best
that,
taker.
That
And this is a duel. It's a fight to the death for who gets
no,
DeAndre.
it's a chicken fight. Campaign on Cristiano Felicio's shoulders, and whoever Orlando sends
no,
someone
David
out.
Nwaba. Come on, don't forget about him.
Yeah, those two games
why?
against the Nets are actually
Why?
probably going to be the most important games of the regular season.
They need to lose out.
And then they end
They're
the
probably
season
going to
against
beat
Detroit.
Boston too. It's going to be so
Yeah, we're gonna
annoying.
we're gonna go out undefeated. It's just gonna just because Bulls.
That would be nice for the Cavs.
The Cavs still projected to take Trae Young.
Stop. Stop. Trae Young is going up on draft boards. Why?
He's so
Why is he
good.
going up on draft
I'm
boards?
okay with
I don't
context.
get it.
I'm okay with that too.
Oh goodness, no! I don't want Trae Young. I don't want him.
It's
I don't even know if I probably will.
Yeah,
Get
it's too bad
Trey
'cause
Young
you're-
and you'll like it.
Probably not, but you're getting him.
No. The
Can't wait
Nets.
till he chucks up shots.
Go
I was
Bulls.
gonna say it's too bad. Like he's just gonna chuck up shots and LeBron's just gonna yell at him, but LeBron's gonna be gone.
Ha! Yeah, I
I
haven't
hate to
heard
hear it.
that one before.
Rodney Hood can yell at him.
Is he? Like can he?
Guys, Rodney Hood is going to average 30 a game next year and
30
be our
turnovers.
best player.
I can't wait for the Cavs to fade back into irrelevance.
I'll
Cleveland.
still root for them. I will still
It's
be a
gonna
fan.
be sucked back
The
into Cleveland.
the Sixers, when the Sixers get LeBron, man,
If they do.
That'd be so cool.
That'd be
I think
so
that, I
cool.
think that would be
I think
very
they
good
could
if they
just
did.
send Ben Simmons and him out together, and they'd beat a lot of teams.
And what's incredible?
they could honestly just do. They could do
Those guys are
Embiid.
just
They could
freaks.
just do Embiid, Simmons, and LeBron, and probably win 60 games.
Probably.
Yes.
And what's insane, the Sixers are going to have home court right now in their
Dario
first round playoff series.
And they're probably still going to get a top 10 pick.
God.
My goodness.
At least this is what this
right
says
now they
about.
would play Indiana. The Cavs would play the Wizards in the first round.
This mock draft has the Phillies, the 76ers getting Mikal Bridges. So that would be
Oh
the
my
Philly kid.
God.
That's so perfect.
that'd be
You
wild.
could play Markel at small forward and
That'd be
you'd still be fine. Oh my goodness.
It's
Philly's
gonna
going
be
to be so good next year. And if they get LeBron, if he leaves.
He's leaving.
I don't
He's
know.
gone.
Unless the
Boys,
Cavs win
the sooner you accept it, the better.
I'll accept
That's
it when
true.
it happens. I'll accept it when it
Okay,
happens.
it's gonna hurt less
But
if you just
Remember that you hit the panic button like 2 months ago. on
I
that.
did hit the panic button, but then they made the trades, and it was okay.
Even I'm looking at my second mock draft. It has the Cavs
Taking Trae Young. Oh my God! Stop! Enough!
And it was only published like 10 hours ago. It was
Enough.
published this morning.
Enough of this madness. I don't want Trae Young. I really, really. If
Like
they,
Tommy said, you are getting Trae Young, and you are gonna like it.
oh, okay. Let's move on to
Hey,
hockey.
we'll get you a Trae Young jersey.
No,
You have to wear it every day
Nope.
on the radio.
no.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Hockey now.
Zanzan.
Playoffs are coming up.
Zambusa.
Today, this week is the final week of the NHL season. It ends on Sunday.
Yes.
Teams who have clinched. So we got Boston, Tampa, and Toronto have clinched in the Atlantic, with the Caps winning the Metropolitan again. Gee, what a surprise! Wonder how long they're gonna last. Pittsburgh clinched too. The teams that's still in the running for playoff spots are Florida, Columbus, Philly, and New Jersey. In the West, you got Nashville and Winnipeg are in, with Vegas clinching the Pacific. Still amazing. Chicago, the only team that is
Don't talk
out
about
in the
Don't stop it.
Central.
Don't talk about it.
Minnesota,
Don't talk
Colorado,
about
St.
the-
Louis, Dallas are
don't
still
talk
in.
about
So who are all you Blackhawks fans? Because you guys are all Blackhawks fans.
Yes.
Who are y'all's going to be pulling for to win it all?
I'm between Winnipeg and Toronto. Probably Winnipeg, Toronto, and Boston, I guess. Because, okay, so here's my reasoning. Boston's just really,
Okay.
really fun to watch right now. They're
agree.
playing unbelievable hockey. I mean, their young core, Charlie McAvoy, Chara getting out there again,
Donato.
It's just a great
Donato,
story.
yeah.
Donato coming up out of Harvard, still taking classes. Like, they've just got an awesome story, and they're just playing unbelievable hockey. Toronto, I've just always been a big Austin Matthews guy. They've got some really fun talent. Mitch Marner's out there. Riley Morgan. No. Morgan Riley.
Morgan Riley,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's just he reminds me of like a young Duncan Keith. I mean, he's just unbelievable. And then finally, the Winnipeg Jets. Patrick Laine is the most fun player to watch in hockey right now. And I mean, Scheifele with him, they've just got an unbelievable first three lines. Like, they could easily go in and score 6 goals every night. So, I mean, that's just another team that's very dangerous. But, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It'll be a fun playoffs, even though the Hawks aren't going to be in it. But
In general, the West looks really dangerous to me because I think Nashville and Winnipeg are legitimate Stanley Cup contenders. I think Vegas you have to put in the conversation.
I don't think Vegas is going to make it past the first round.
Vegas fired their social media guy. They're not going to win.
They did.
Why?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Why
I'm
did they-
almost positive.
What? Why would they fire him?
I'm pretty sure I saw it on Twitter a couple nights ago.
Interesting.
I'm almost positive I saw it.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I just searched Vegas social media and I saw some other stuff that I don't think I want to say on this show.
Why would you do that? You need to be way more specific.
Vegas Golden Knights social media.
Come on, Ori. Come on now.
I'm
You're
not.
smarter than
I'm
that.
not seeing.
in the meantime, while Ori is searching to see if this man's got fired.
Oh no, he left. Yeah. Okay, what were you gonna say, Tommy?
I disagree.
I
I,
know
think the
everything.
West kind of stinks outside of them. I think Nashville and Winnipeg are both.
I think
threats.
San Jose or Anaheim is still in the
I
conversation.
don't. I don't think either of them.
But they always choke.
I think the whole Pacific.
They're
is
always
kinda-
Yeah, but look at the East.
that whole Pacific. I think is pretty trash. I think Nashville's got a legitimate chance. Winnipeg has a legitimate chance. I think if Colorado can pass Minnesota, I think they have a better build for the playoffs than Minnesota does because this Minnesota team is
Still too young.
kinda
Nathan
stinky.
McKinnon's not there
They're
yet.
pretty stinky. The Avs are really fun. They can go out and score with Winnipeg. I mean, they could obviously, like, McKinnon's gonna win the Hart. He should win the Hart. And then you look at the East.
Caps
Washington.
here.
It's
Caps
not the
here.
Caps here.
Is it the Caps here?
never
It's the
gonna
Caps
be.
here, right?
No, Washington's not gonna win.
They never will.
Pittsburgh very well could three-peat.
Again? Oh, no.
Pittsburgh
as much
does
as it
look
would make me
so
throw
good.
up everywhere, I think it's very
The
possible.
worst thing I could see in this playoffs is if Columbus plays Pittsburgh again and loses to Pittsburgh again in the first round for the third straight playoffs.
Also, if Philly can pass Columbus, I think Philly's actually a very dangerous team.
Ugh, I don't want to think about that.
And then
Columbus
looking at
better make
the
it.
Atlantic in the East, Boston, Tampa, the top three, all three of those.
If
teams
Stamkos
are
is healthy, I mean, he got injured
yeah,
a few nights
I
ago.
mean, even without Stamkos, though, that's a nasty team.
I know.
And they haven't been playing as well of lately. I mean, Vasilevsky's kind of been down a little bit.
Kuznetsov is still playing really well.
Yeah, well, Kuznetsov's on the Caps.
Oh, right. Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of...
We've got a guy that
it's
has...
bugging me. What, because he's Russian, Ori?
No, it starts
Yeah.
with a K.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kucherov.
Yeah,
That's what I was
Nikita
thinking of.
Kucherov.
Nikita Kucherov.
He's
My
pretty
bad.
good.
He's very good. He's having an
He's
excellent
unbelievable.
season.
Yeah, he was probably the best player in the league last year.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah,
Toronto's
I mean,
still too young. I don't think they can make it all the way this year
I
either.
don't know. I mean, people said that about the 2010 Hawks. I mean, Patrick Kane was in his second year. Taves was in his second. No.
Third.
Third?
What's-
I thought
I
they
think
came out
so.
together.
No, I think Taze was 1 year
thought-
before. I'm pretty
I
sure.
think Taves played a full year in the AHL with Rockford.
Yeah.
They both came
yeah,
up in,
you're right.
in 9.
You're right.
Or in 08, I guess.
What's
08.
really shocking to me, I still remember in October before the season started, Edmonton is going to be so good. They have the same amount of points as the Hawks, even though Connor McDavid has over 100 points again.
Yeah, I mean, it just
That's
didn't
cool.
work out for Edmonton this year. You know,
They just need
it was a
so many
team
more
that-
people.
It really wasn't. It's just so many just. I feel like I see, like, you can't give them the tired excuse because they didn't go as far as, say, the Hawks have gone these last 10 years. You know, but I mean, I don't know. And Connor can't do it all himself. And I mean, they do have plenty of talent, but I don't know. It just didn't work out. I guess. I mean, they're gonna obviously retool some things, but
Right.
I mean, they should have been a team that could compete with the likes of Toronto, but
Should have. I mean, Edmonton, Toronto, Stanley Cups are what people are saying
I wanted
still
that so bad.
in 6 to 7 years because of the Matthews-McDavid effect for both teams. The big NHL news today, the Sedin brothers are going to retire.
yeah, 17 years.
Yeah, it's incredible. Vancouver is definitely not making the playoffs.
No.
They are terrible. The worst team in the league is Buffalo. Is Jack Eichel going to move? He should.
No, he just signed a big extension last year.
Oh, my God,
Yeah.
why? They've won
I don't-
25 games.
I feel
Money.
like I love Jack Eichel. He's actually one of my favorite players in the league. I think Eichel's going to be around long enough that they're eventually just going to pick 2 other studs, and he's about to just go off. Because, I mean, he puts up just insane numbers, even with, barely little to no help. And, I mean, they finally got rid of Vander Kane, got some stuff back on that, you know.
Remember when they got him and they thought he was going to turn them around?
Well, the thing is with him, I mean, he's been hurt a couple times. He missed a long stretch last year. But, I mean, he's been a point-per-game player throughout his career, basically.
Right.
It's not like he's not performing to what they thought he would do. It's just, they don't have the piece around him yet.
Yeah, and surprising because this has been a great sports year for Buffalo so far. Bills making the playoffs, the Buffalo Bulls beating Arizona in the tournament, and then you got the Sabres just kind of way down in the standings, really, really down.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to actively root against the Blue Jackets? That I need to know. Because they're probably going to play Pittsburgh in the first round if they make the playoffs.
No, I want them to be Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
I just,
And
I
then we
don't
play Washington.
yeah. I mean,
I don't dislike the Blue Jackets, I guess.
You just dislike
I
Ohio.
can't wait for Boone Jenner to be a Hawk next year.
Ugh. No.
Boone Jenner.
Boone Jenner's going to be on the
Coming
Jackets.
honestly, I just don't follow hockey enough when the Hawks aren't in it to be able to root actively against
Yeah.
Columbus.
I mean, I think hockey's probably one of my most followed sports. But I mean, I don't know. I've never really had any problems with Columbus. Obviously, looking back on it, the Saad Panarin deal wasn't great for us. But
Worked better in our favor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the time it made sense. But I mean, yeah, I have no animosity towards Columbus.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. And, I mean, you have... Even
I think their uniforms are kind of gross, though.
No, the uniforms
don't
are
like
cool.
them.
I love the fact that they changed their logo to what they have now. The previous logo was kind of just didn't make sense if you go and look at it. I love the logo now. I love the look they have. But yeah, even in a neutral standpoint, I think some neutral NHL fans are just going to watch the playoffs casually, like myself, who isn't from Columbus, have a reason to root for the Blue Jackets, because if you don't want Pittsburgh to win again, you root for Columbus, because the Penguins are probably going to play the Blue Jackets in the first round. And then Columbus, if they actually won a playoff series, which they haven't ever, would play the Caps, which everyone's like, oh, the Caps are going to choke, blah, blah, blah. because people just want to actively root against teams from Washington D.C. in the playoffs because they're like, I don't want to see this again. I don't want to see the Nats losing again. I don't want to see the Caps win and all this.
I'm looking at the odds to win the cup right now.
Highest is probably, I'm going to say Nashville.
Boston.
That was my second guess.
Boston's number one. Boston's top in the East. They've got the top three in each. In the East, they've got Boston, Tampa, Toronto, then Caps, Penguins, Columbus, and then in the West, it's Nashville, Vegas, surprisingly at 2, which I don't necessarily.
Everyone's putting their money on Vegas.
I don't think really though.
The story, everyone just wants them to win.
I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be fun, I guess. I just don't see them. I mean, at the same time, Marc-Andre Fleury has amazing postseason experience, and if any goaltender can win a series, it's him. So I guess that's got to factor a lot of it into it. But then they've got Winnipeg right behind them, San Jose, Minnesota, Anaheim, LA, and Colorado. So I mean,
should be a fun last week of the NHL season. We're definitely going to talk more playoffs as the spring concludes. Well, spring hasn't even started yet. I don't think we can say spring has officially started, even though it should have. So, fine. When the NHL playoffs starts, we'll be talking about that. We'll talk NBA playoffs when those kick into high gear, and plenty of more stuff as usual. As you just listened to Illini Drive, brought to you by the Illinois Fighting Illini. For tickets and info, make sure to go to fightingillini.com. Or call 1-866-ILLINI-1 for more ticket information.
Finish the show, Ori.
Yeah, because you guys just stole my headphones.
Didn't steal.
What are they doing, man? They just took my headphones.
They're out in the middle of the open.
So for Tommy, for Jake, and for Will, I'm Ori. Thank you for listening to Illini Drive. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for another edition at 6 o'clock.
Are you crazy?
Right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're childish.